Do that every day. This makes it really easy when I talk about the cappuccino strategy. It makes it really easy for me to tell you something new that maybe you don't know. This is not about your childhood. It's not about how you are set up. It's not about how your parents treated you or whoever, your teachers. Why are you here? What is your goal? I just want to give you some idea of the model of NLP and especially about how your brain processes information. Because to me, the model of NLP is all about how your brain processes information. If you know how your brain processes information, if you know how your brain does whatever it does, then it's a lot easier for you to set goals in a way that works. And as I already told you, you do that every day, 12 times, 100 times. But right now, I think that you're not aware of it. A lot of people, most people, are not aware of how they set goals every day. So let's start there. In the model of NLP, we think that your brain processes information by keeping experiences. And you experience experiences with your senses. You can see them, hear them, taste them, smell them, or touch them. And experiences are remembered in your brain with your representational system, which means your sensory system. So if you remember, what color did your first bicycle have? That's a traditional NLP question. And you say red. I would ask you, how do you know? And the way you know is that you have a picture in your mind about your first bicycle. You can see it right now, although maybe it's 20, 30, 40 years ago that you had your first bicycle, but you still remember the color. Maybe red, maybe yellow. The color of the house where your parents lived in, or the color of a tree that you don't see right now. If you can remember a color which is only visual, and you see it now, although it's not there right now, the color of the walls in your living room. How do you know that if you're not in your living room right now? You can imagine this picture, you remember it, and you can hear voices too, or music. You can remember your favorite sound. You can remember being in a discotheque or wherever and dancing to wonderful music. Depending on when you were born, you remember beautiful songs. Maybe that you remember a song from Elvis Presley. Most people can do that. Although you don't listen to it right now on the radio because you're listening to this audio production, you can remember how this song sounds like. You can imagine how that sounds like. We call those representational systems, and it's something that you hear, or you can see, or you can smell, you can taste, or you can imagine to touch a ball, for example. You can imagine having a ball in your hands. And this is how memory works. This is how, once again, your brain processes information. And you're so used to it that maybe that until today you were not aware that it works that way, and it still does. And you can also imagine a future event. You can imagine flying next week on a plane from the town where you are right now to another town. You can imagine sitting in the plane. You can imagine sitting in the business class. You can imagine sitting in the back, economy class. You can imagine driving to the airport. This is planning your future. But what is planning all about? It's about something that you see inside your head and hear and smell and taste and touch. So your senses are included. And they are also included when you talk or think about the past or when you plan your future. You use your sensory system to plan your future. And perhaps you want to take some time with this experience right now or later on, just to find out how these pictures and movies work. And this is what I call the cappuccino strategy, and why I call it the cappuccino strategy. Because imagine right now that you would like to have a cup of cappuccino. And perhaps you are not at Starbucks right now, and you're not in a coffee shop, and you're not in your kitchen preparing a coffee or already having one. How do you do that? How do you plan to have a cappuccino? And if you prefer tea or a glass of water, you can take that too. Just do it the way you want it to. I just stay with a cappuccino because I call it the cappuccino strategy. And a lot of people like cappuccino. If you like a black coffee, then imagine that. How do you do that? Maybe that you're sitting in your car right now. Maybe that you're at the office. So how do you plan to have a cappuccino in 10 minutes from now or in an hour from now? And you can become aware right now that you see the cup in your hand right now. When you say, I want to have a cappuccino, then you already imagine having it in your hands. This is what most people tell me. Some people tell me, no, they see themselves standing in front of the coffee machine preparing a cappuccino, and they can hear the sound that the coffee machine makes, or they imagine staying at Starbucks and somebody's preparing the cappuccino for them. What is the important part here? To me, the important part is, if you want to have a cappuccino, you plan the end result, the final outcome. You get the cappuccino. And a lot of people tell me that they already tasted it. They already have it in their hand and they smell it. They don't only see it. I mean, they see it in their hands, but they already hear the surrounding sound, maybe in the coffee shop or in your kitchen. They smell it, they taste it, they feel that the cup is warm in their hand. If I ask my participants in our seminars, how do you see this picture of this cup in your hand? Most of the people say it's bigger than normal. The cup is bigger. To be really precise here, they imagine the cup being bigger than normal. And you can try that out right now. If you imagine having a cappuccino, or as I told you, a cup of tea, a glass of water, and you make this picture, which is inside of your head, you make it a little bit bigger. You see yourself standing there having a cup of cappuccino in your hand, and you make the picture bigger. The cup becomes larger, and you put more color into it. What happens to your feeling, I can predict this. Please try that out. What happens to your feeling is you are more drawn towards the cappuccino. You think like, oh yeah, I have to go there right now. Please don't. You can make the picture smaller again. The only point that I want to make here is this is how your brain works. This is in the middle of the model of NLP, the neuro-linguistic programming, because this is how your brain processes information. It's all about the pictures, the movie in your head. And you say, this is not about goal setting. It is about goal setting. Although for most of us, planning to have a cappuccino or drink a cappuccino is just a tiny little goal. But this is the important part of the cappuccino strategy. You do this every day, 12 times, 100 times. I think that you do it 100 times every day. You use the cappuccino strategy. You are absolutely used to it. So, for example, if you work in your office and you say to your colleague or your boss or your employees, whatever the role is that you play there, you say, I'm going home now. What do you see inside of your head? And I know that some people answer, yeah, I see myself driving home. And this is not true. Because if you just see yourself driving, then you see yourself driving. You would go to your car and sit in your car and drive around, but you wouldn't have any go. There is the word. You don't have any go, then you're just driving, and you don't know where you're driving. But if you say, I go home now, or I drive home now, you see, once again, you plan the end result, and maybe without knowing. As I already told you, most of the people don't know that this is the way how their brain works, and this is the way how they plan their future. So once again, if you say, I'm going home now, then you see the end result. And most of the people tell me that they see themselves with the key in their hands, opening the door of their home, whatever it is, the flat or the house, wherever you live. They see themselves arriving where they want to go. And this is, when we say, I'm going home now, we see the end result. We plan going home. And if there is somebody else in the home, perhaps you hear yourself coming home saying, hello, I'm home again. And hopefully somebody answers and is happy that you're there. This is the way how we do it every day. This is how we plan our days, our little tiny goals every day. And this is the important part of the cappuccino strategy. So please take your time with this and experience it. How do you really do that? And it works really, really good because you do it when you have breakfast, when you go to school or go to work, you see the end result sitting at your desk or going to your shop or wherever you work. Maybe that you work in a factory, you see yourself being there, arriving there, and then you know where you drive. Typically, people don't do that consciously. This is what I told you, nobody knows that. But now you can take your time during the next days or weeks. You can find out that you do that, and you really do that every day. So you're so used to it. It's so normal. It's unconscious. It's not that your conscious mind does this. Your unconscious does this. Sometimes that doesn't work. I mean, sometimes we do it the other way around. So maybe that if you get up in the morning or just before you get up, you say, I dress myself or get dressed. And what do you see in this movie? Do you see yourself trying on different clothes that you have and they don't fit or whatever? You see the process? Or do you see yourself dressed? Because this is what I see. I just see myself going to the wardrobe and dress myself, putting on the pants, whatever, and a pullover or sweatshirt, whatever. That's it. I see the end result. Walking out of the room, going downstairs to have breakfast with my wife. I just planned the end result. So here's an idea. If people see themselves while they are dressing, so they see, or maybe that you see, yourself during the process, then it will take you a lot longer. And sometimes we do that. For example, if we say, I go downstairs to the cellar or to the basement because we wanted to fetch something, but the sentence we say in the pictures or the movie we see inside of our head is just being in the basement, being in the cellar, or being in the storage room. And perhaps you have already experienced that. You go downstairs or you go to this place and then you're standing there and you think, what did I want to do here? And you don't remember. And you get back up or to your next room and you're in the next room. And then you remember, you say, oh yeah, I wanted to fetch that. And then you go downstairs again or go to your storage and you're standing there and thinking, wow, what did I want here? So the important part is what you see inside your head is you see yourself walking downstairs or being downstairs or being in this storage room. But you don't see yourself coming back with whatever it was that you wanted to fetch. So this is how your brain processes information the other way around. If you plan the process, being in the room, getting dressed, then it's a totally different movie. You don't see the end result, which I call the cappuccino strategy. You see yourself with a cappuccino in your hand, but you see the process of getting there. And this is the biggest mistake that people do by setting goals. Setting goals is all about the end result. And maybe that you have heard about this already. Visualize your goals, visualize your goals. This is true. And I want to use this audio production to give you an idea of why it doesn't work. There's a reason why it doesn't work. And the reason is the way your brain processes information. This is the most important point in this audio production. This is the thing that I want to get across really clear. I want you to understand that every single time when you have not achieved the goal that you wanted to achieve, maybe for years, you have planned the process. So let's go and have a look at some topics that are important for a lot of people. Maybe not for you right now, but are important or have been important for you. One important topic is about relationships, having a marriage or a beautiful relationship with a man or woman, I don't care, whatever you want. What did we do in our younger years? I don't know whether you're good in flirting, whether you have some problems, and perhaps you're still single. But I can tell that if it's difficult for you to meet somebody, I think that you plan the process all the time. And I remember doing that when I was younger. For example, in school, there were some girls that I really liked. So what did I do in the afternoon? I planned, here's the important word, meeting them on the next day. Walking by or whatever, meeting them in school. And then I imagined the process. I imagined saying, hi, And then I just saw myself saying hi, or listening to myself and seeing myself saying hi, and imagining that the girl would have said, "Oh, hi." And then I thought, okay, what do I say now? Perhaps I planned to say, "How are you?" And she would have said, "Oh, good," or "great." And then I planned that the dialogue stopped there, because I had no idea what to say next. So I saw myself, planning the process, standing in front of this beautiful girl. Maybe my mouth was open, but I couldn't hear myself saying anything. Just standing there, looking at her, and quiet. And then I saw her saying, "So have a great time," and whoop, she was leaving. Sometimes I just stopped the movie because it was so painful to stand in front of this beautiful girl that I really liked, not getting out one tone, one single word, because I didn't know what to say. And the voice in my head told me, "Oh, what shall I do now?" Ooh. So this is about goal setting, but it's about goal setting the wrong way, because then I wouldn't show up. I wouldn't talk to her, because I've planned a process which was not as nice as I would have liked it. And if I would have planned, which I learned years later, and you can learn that today, if I would have planned what I really wanted was, for example, to invite her for a cup of tea or a cup of cappuccino. Although we were that young, we wouldn't have drinking cappuccino at that time. But no worries. You know what I'm talking about. It's just the difference between planning the process and seeing yourself failing, not getting out the right words, or if you were not able to answer questions. This is what some people do if they plan for a test and they see themselves then having this question, saying, "Oh, I don't know what to say, oh God." Ooh, and then it's quiet, and then they see themselves walking out. So whenever you plan the process instead of the end result, then it's difficult for your brain to process the information. And chances are that you will be failing a lot easier if you plan the process. So here's the important point I want to make. If you want to learn to set and achieve goals, it's important to plan the end result. Motivational strategies, everything that motivates your brain to work in the way it does anyway, and every day and all the time, you have to imagine the end result. Really important, end result. And there's another aspect about the cappuccino strategy which is really important. And this is why I chose the cappuccino, because it's concrete. You can feel it, you can touch it, see it, smell it, whatever. It's in your hand. You can imagine having it. And a lot of people are setting goals by using symbols. What do I mean by symbols? A dollar note, for example, is a symbol. I mean, it's money, but money is just a symbol. And in the model of NLP, we are quite easy about that. There are two kinds of words, because one is symbols. You can't touch them. You can't see them. I mean, you can see money, but you can't see wisdom or abundance or responsibility or security. You can't see those words existent. They are just concepts, abstract concepts of the world. And maybe that you say, "Yeah, Mark, as soon as I have abundance, I can see myself driving this car, living in this house, living in this town," or whatever it is. But the point I want to make here is, as long as you talk about abundance, for example, your brain is not able to process this information because it's just a symbol. It's not an end result. The end result would be, okay, because I have the abundance, because I have the money, I can have this wonderful vacation, I can buy this car, I can buy this house. This is the experience that you want to make as soon as you have the abundance, as soon as you are rich. And it's important for your goal setting that you plan the end result in a way that no symbols are included. So I wouldn't plan, if I were you, I wouldn't plan for abundance. I wouldn't plan for becoming rich, because your brain is not able to see the end result. I mean, you can see yourself saying, hey, I'm rich now. But what does that mean? What would you do if you were rich? And here's a really easy tool for you. Perhaps you have already heard about the vision board, especially when you have watched a movie like The Secret or listened to the productions from Esther Hicks. Then you already know that a vision board is quite a good thing, because you can, for example, you see your dream car and you make a photo, or you download it from the internet, or you see it in a magazine, and you just get the picture and put it on this vision board, because you say, okay, this is something I want to have. And this, or it's a watch or whatever, a special dress or a new phone. I don't know what you want. And this is really a good way to achieve goals, because if you can have a picture of whatever it is that you want, then it's really easy for your brain to know, okay, this is what I want. This is the end result. I want to live in this house. I want to have this boat. I want to have this car. For most of us, it's a lot more important to have other things, like a good relationship, or we want to be happy and want to have good friends we can rely on, things like that. And here's the next thing. If you plan the end result, it should be really easy for you to draw a picture with the end result. So if you see yourself living in a beautiful relationship, what you plan and what you can see inside of your head is, what kind of experience do you want to have with this person? You want to have a beautiful vacation together? You want to sit together and smile or tell jokes? Or what do you want to experience? Because this is not about dating somebody. This is about living, perhaps if you want that, it's about living with each other and having a wonderful relationship. You can't draw that. Draw a wonderful relationship. I mean, you see yourself sitting there smiling, bright smile, yes. This is not the way you would draw that, right? What you can draw about your future, and I don't know whether you're good in that or not. I'm not good in drawing pictures. I'm not. But I don't care. I sit down really often and just paint or draw a picture of the future that I want. Because if you can draw it, you can achieve it. And if you look back through your life right now, that I'm really sure that if there is a goal that you haven't achieved right now, there are two reasons why that is. A, you didn't plan the end result, you planned the process, and this is not the way your brain works. And B, you are not able to draw it. Meaning you are not able to have a movie inside of your head where you see yourself living the future of your dreams. So these are the two most important factors for goal setting. Don't plan any symbols. You can draw symbols, that's true. You can draw a dollar sign, but your brain can't process the information. You can plan to have a lot of dollar bills, or some gold or euros or whatever you want to have. Do you really want to have bills? A lot of bills in your life? I mean, maybe that you say, oh yeah, dollar bills, yes, give me that, money. And then what do you do with the money? I know there are a lot of people in the world right now who have a lot of money in their bank accounts, and you could draw that for sure. You can paint an account statement where it says, in millions of dollars, and do that. If you like it, just do it. And here's my question again. What do you really want? You want to have this money in your bank account? I think life is about experience. And money is something you can exchange for this experience. So if you draw these pictures of your future, wouldn't you rather draw the experiences that you want to have? Maybe that you live together with somebody else in a wonderful relationship and you want to have a beautiful vacation. So this is something that you can draw. If you want to go to an island, to the Bahamas or the Maldives or whatever, you can draw that. You can see yourself being on that island. And now after you have understood how the cappuccino strategy works, you understand how to set your goals, how to plan your future so that your brain is able to support you. And if you plan the process, especially if you plan a process that you don't like in my example with the girl years ago that I didn't talk to because I planned a process and it was a process that I didn't like, then you can set goals in a way that works. If you want to live in a relationship, which to me is the most important part of my life, my relationship with my wife, and I really love her. But what I see if I talk about that being in the relationship, I see these wonderful experiences that I have with her. And if I plan the future with my wife, I see us having a lot of beautiful experiences, having fun. So you plan future events that you would like to experience. And this is the total difference in goal setting compared to the way most people do that. So right now, it's important that you realize that this is what we do if we set, here's the important part, big goals. If people talk about big goals, important goals, business goals, for example, what most people do is they plan the process there because they say this goal is so big, I need to plan it differently than I plan a cup of cappuccino. And this is a mistake as far as I can tell. Even my really big goals, my business goals, I plan them the same way. I draw them onto a piece of paper. And when I'm ready with drawing, I put the paper away. I just hide it because nobody else needs to see it. Nobody needs to know what I've painted or drawn. Just do it. Try it. It's so easy. Take a piece of paper. It must not be a big piece of paper. It can be a small one. Just start there. Draw your future. And that means if you have a business and you're setting goals there and you have perhaps some colleagues or employees who are important for you and your goals, they need to understand the end result. And here's the important sentence. Never start if you don't know the end result. You can stay in bed if you don't know the end result. In the morning, just stay there. Don't get up. Don't go to the toilet until you know the end result that you want to have. Get the end result. Get it clear. Be totally clear about the end result. If you have your business meeting, this is what I do during the time I helped some companies and gave them some advice. When we started a meeting, I always taught them that the first thing is to be clear about the end result. So my question was, how can we realize that this meeting that we have right now is successful? Tell me the end result. And a lot of people had a lot of problems with this idea because they said, oh no, Mark, this is not important. We don't know. It's just a meeting. It's just that we have to talk about this and that. And I said, no. I said, here, give me the end result. How do we know that this meeting is successful? Give me the end result of the meeting. What do we want to know? What do we want to decide? What is it? If we say, no, it's just about having some time together and having fun together, it could be that this is the end result we want to have. We want to have fun. We want to hear good jokes. Maybe. But just be clear about, we want to have a lot of fun. We want to laugh really hard. Okay, cool. Then do that. Plan it. Do that. Know the end result. So maybe that you say, no, we're just coming together to have 1 hour together and walk out of the room after 1 hour and think that, wow, this was a great time. Really wonderful. So now, just to wrap it up, please look back, go through your life and find out, when have you achieved a goal really easily? I can tell you have used the cappuccino strategy. When was it hard to achieve the goal, or perhaps you haven't achieved it until today? I can tell you planned the process, and that made it hard. So you can use this cappuccino strategy for everything you want. If you want to reduce your body weight, you can hear that, right? It's a process. Reduce my weight. It's a process. It's not the end result. What is the end result you want to have? You want to look in a special way. You want to have a body shape or whatever it is. Plan the end result. If you want to be successful in your job, being successful is not something that your brain can process. It's a symbol. It's abstract. You need to really see a situation in the future where you would say, oh yeah, this is the meaning of success. Could be that you have a special position in the company that you work for. Or maybe that you travel around the world and this means being successful for you. And as soon as you are able to draw this picture of the future that you want to live, then it's easy for your brain to achieve it. And for sure, some goals take some more time than other goals. Maybe that having a cup of cappuccino for you is a little goal. And this is okay. Okay, for most of us, this is a little goal. But the way that your brain processes the information to achieve this goal, having a cup of cappuccino, is the same way that you should use to achieve the big goals too. This is the way it works. And that makes life easy. If you're familiar with the law of attraction or the movie The Secret, then you already know if you plan the end result, something will happen. And this depends on where you live and what you think about life and what you think about the law of attraction. And in my opinion, and I put this to a test a lot of times, what happens if you plan the end result, even if it's a big goal, or especially if it's a big goal that you are not able to achieve in 1 or 2 days or 1 or 2 weeks. But if you stay focused on the end result, then something happens which is called inspired action. And this is what it's all about. You want to be able to use your brain in the right way. And you want to use the universe, if this is your model of the world, you want to use the universe in a way that works. So staying focused on the end result will be the best way to plan your goals. And once again, draw them. This is all you have to do. Draw them. Start today. And if you have a business meeting, before you start, tell everybody what your end result is. And if it's not your meeting, it's the meeting of somebody else, you can ask the question, what is the end result we want to achieve today with this meeting? What do we want to know? What do we want to decide? Whatever it is. Also in your family, what is the end result? What do you really want? Train your brain to process the information in the right way. Train yourself. It's really easy. Maybe that it takes some days. Maybe that you listen to this audio program over and over again. It makes a lot of sense because here's a lot of information. It took me years to put this information together. It took me years to understand how the universe works. And maybe that you take some time to really get the point. Maybe that you listen to it over and over again until you really have it, until you really understand it. But I can tell you, the cappuccino strategy is worth it. So right now, I would like you to close your eyes. But please only do that if you're not driving a car or using an important machine or whatever it is. If you're sitting in your living room, just sit back and close your eyes and just do that little journey. A journey into your own future in 5 years from now. 5 years. And I know that you have already understood. This is the future of your dreams. You live in the place where you want to live. Perhaps it's sunny there and warm. Perhaps it's cold and you can go skiing. I don't know what your future looks like. But I know that you are able right now to imagine the perfect future. The future of your dreams. What will the relationship, your most important relationship, maybe your marriage or whatever it is, what will that look like? Will you live together or stay together with a perfect mate in this beautiful future? Or you want to be alone? What kind of person are you going to be in 5 years from now? Are you still angry and afraid and nervous? Or do you have this wonderful power inside of you? So this power that is able to create worlds. Will you find your way to that? In 5 years from now, will you be a friendly person? Will you be loving and Will you be somebody that everybody likes to be with and around? In 5 years from now, will you like yourself? Or, even better, love yourself? Will you be a spiritual person? A person who has a strong connection to the whole universe, to everything there is? What do you plan? How do you want to be? Perhaps you already understood that you are a creator. You are somebody who is able to have a look into your future and plan in the right way. In 5 years from now, what kind of experiences do you want to have? You want to have a beautiful car in your garage? Or 2 cars? And how about your job? Will you really do something that is important for the world? Will you really be somebody who helps the rest of us to create a beautiful planet and a beautiful world where we want to live in? Without any fear, without any doubt, without any wars, just peace all over the place. And beautiful people meeting each other in freedom and peace and enjoying planet Earth. In 5 years from now, do you want to work for a company which destroys the planet? Or do you want to do something else? Do you want to be important for other people? Do you want to make a difference in the world in 5 years from now? Maybe that you already do that today, but maybe that you can do it even better than today. In 5 years from now, do you want to help other people to live the life of their dreams? You want to be a good example? Or you want to be a bad example? You want to be a happy person 5 years from now? Loving, beautiful, dancing around every day, singing, smiling, laughing? Who do you want to be in 5 years from now? Take your time with this. Really take your time. Because you're beautiful. I know that you are. You're a beautiful being on a wonderful journey. So take some time for yourself and your big goals. Because this is the reason why you are here. To create a wonderful life. It's all about having fun. So when you come back to the present moment right now, I just want to tell you that it's wonderful that you listen to this audio production. Thank you very much. I did my best to give you some new ideas, and maybe that they aren't new, just taught in a different way. Maybe that they are brand new to you. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to thank you, because all I do is that I want to help and support people in living the life of their dreams. And if you are this person right now, and you start living the life of your dreams, creating the life of your dreams right now, after you have listened to this audio production, then to me it was worth living on planet Earth. So thank you very much and have a great time while you're here. Hopefully we'll meet each other in the future. Bye.